I remember when I entered his house. The first thing my eyes met was a portrait of him and his spouse, my aunt, brought down and laid on the sofa. Everything was in 6s and 7s. So far, I had not known what transpired, but my curiosity led me to ask, "Uncle, is everything okay?" He looked back with a sigh that said, "Did you really have to ask?" But he calmly smiled and said, "Sit. Me and your aunt divorced." I was utterly in shock. The only words that my mouth allowed to escape were, "But how?" I have never heard a grown man more honest than that day. He then said, "I cheated." I was still perplexed. He continued to narrate, "Before I met your aunt, I moved from lady to lady like a midwife. I believed in the motto, play now and settle later. I moved from party to party like I was a politician. I needed to see things clearly. I was in need of an optician. I thought marriage would suppress and compress these things, but when we got married, it's as though the fire got ignited the more. I thought with the coming of the kids I would bring this to order, but my lust drove me astray. I was like a hunter seeking prey. I remember the first days I would hide, but with time questions began to rise in the corners of her mind. Her friends told her of my errands, but she loved me too much and chose not to believe. But I remember that day. She looked me in the eye, and with a low tone clothed in humility asked, "My dear husband, I keep hearing things, and I see how you seem so busy than usual these days. Be honest with me. Is there anything you're hiding from me?" But pride within me awoke and spoke. "Why do you feed your ears with rumors, and moreover, people sometimes vomit rubbish to end what is destined to be? Can't you see? They are jealous." She smiled and walked away. But time revealed my character like a pregnant woman at 9. She caught me red-handed. I experienced what it is like to be dumb, for no words could really help me apologize. Before I realized, the woman I was with rushed out like a mouse that saw a cat, and your aunt walked up to me drenched in tears and held me close and said, "Julius, why? Why would you do such a thing? I thought you told me that they were only rumors, but indeed even rumors can become reality. I remember washing your shirt stained with lipstick, packets of condoms in your jeans, but at all means I prayed every night that you change. But this very act, Julius, I really can't. I loved you and God knows I still do. But the pain in my heart cannot allow me to be here, but like a scissors I cut her. As my knees kissed the ground, Susan, forgive me." She smiled with tears rolling down her eyes and said, "I forgive you, but I'm sorry I can't be with you." I began to plead. Days turned to weeks, and weeks turned to months. He then sternly looked at me and said, "Young man, you will get married one day. It's hard to admit, but learn from my failures. A great friend once said, whatever you do not address today will undress you tomorrow. Marriage does not hide your weaknesses. Never be too busy for God. We do not make time for God. All time is for God. We make time for other things." Uncle Julius was diagnosed with HIV and AIDS, and he passed on. Rest in peace, Uncle Julius.